Right. Okay, we get this all the time. Our number one deficiency is low iron. Number one deficiency is low iron. And I'm going to give you a little bit of background about iron deficiency anemia in our patients. Iron deficiency anemia almost never happens in our guys. And iron deficiency anemia happens very frequently in patients who are not MGB patients. It happens in women all the time in the United States. And so there's a commonality in the people who get anemia. They're women. Why? Because in their monthly cycle, they give away iron. So what we say to our patients, the very first thing you should do before you do anything else is see your gynecologist and stop throwing away that iron every month. That's step number one. Number two is your doctor will probably prescribe iron. It turns out that almost never does anything at all. Why? Iron is a molecule, an ion, that's either ferrous or ferric ion. And you could get the same stuff by scraping rust off a bumper or off a car. And if you try and dissolve that in water, in other words, go out and get some rust and try and dissolve it in water, it won't dissolve. Similarly, when you take tablets of iron sulfate or things like that, it has difficulty dissolving and difficulty absorbing into your gut. And that means it won't help. So many of our patients have to get intravenous iron to catch up. But some researchers came up with this idea. They noticed that when we eat iron in meat, we can absorb that iron very well. Iron as rust, not so much. Iron in beef, very good. So they said, why don't we take a lone little iron molecule and wrap it in a hemoglobin ring, which is the way it is in meat, and put it in a tablet. So they did that, and it's called Proferon. Okay? Now that's theoretical, just theoretical, so I don't want you to believe that on theory alone that it's good. But they took some research and they said, how can we prove that this new iron that we made called Proferon is terrific compared to the oral iron sulfate, which doesn't work very well? They said, where can we find people who need iron every week that are getting IV iron all the time because they're always losing iron? And they said, dialysis patients. Because every week, 3 times a week, they stick a needle in their arm, they run the dialysis blood through the machine, and they lose a lot of blood going through that. So they were getting IV infusions of iron very, very often. So they took that group of patients, they stopped their iron infusions and gave them this new kind of iron called Proferon. And they eliminated the need for transfusion in 90% of patients. So it's extremely effective. Now why is it I'm smart and I know about that and your doctor doesn't?
He works for Kaiser.
No. No. It's because I'm not smart. This was told to me by one of my patients who's a specialist. And so then we looked it up, and now the hot new iron is Proferon. And the research on it is stunning, and the other iron's not going to help, and so you need either intravenous iron and or Proferon.
Is it over the counter?
Yes.
All right, I'll add that.
What's wrong with just eating the red meat?
You can't eat enough.
Oh.
It's okay to eat red meat, but you can't eat enough to fix anemia. You need a batch. That's why you're getting those tablets. The tablets of regular iron are fine, you just can't absorb them. So you could crush up the meat and da-da-da-da. Right. So good thing you asked, huh?